Beef is one of those foods everyone thinks they already understand. It's everywhere: burgers, steaks, stews, fast food, fine dining. Because it's so common, people rarely stop and ask basic questions about it. What exactly is beef? Why has it dominated human diets for so long? Is it healthy, or is it a problem food? The truth sits somewhere in the middle, and understanding beef properly requires context instead of extremes. Beef is the meat that comes from cattle, typically cows or bulls raised specifically for meat production. Humans have consumed beef for thousands of years, and its role in history is massive. From early agricultural societies to modern industrial food systems, beef has been a symbol of strength, wealth, and sustenance. But it's also one of the most debated foods today. One reason beef became so dominant is efficiency. Cattle convert grass and plant matter into dense, calorie-rich meat. For early societies, this meant reliable energy and nutrition. Beef provided protein, fat, and essential micronutrients in a single source. In harsh environments or growing populations, that mattered. Let's talk cuts, because beef isn't one thing. It's a category. Different cuts behave completely differently in cooking and nutrition. Tender cuts like ribeye, tenderloin, and sirloin are prized for their softness and flavor. These cuts usually contain more intramuscular fat, also known as marbling, which contributes to taste and juiciness. Tougher cuts like chuck, brisket, and shank contain more connective tissue. These are not bad cuts, they're just different. When cooked slowly, they break down into rich, flavorful meat. This is why stews, braises, and slow-cooked dishes exist. Beef rewards patience. Ground beef deserves its own mention. It's one of the most consumed forms of beef worldwide because it's affordable, versatile, and easy to cook. Fat content varies, which directly affects calorie density and texture. Lean ground beef is higher in protein per calorie, while higher fat blends deliver more flavor but also more saturated fat. Now nutrition. Beef is a powerhouse, no question. It's one of the most concentrated sources of high-quality protein available. Protein from beef contains all essential amino acids, making it a complete protein. This supports muscle growth, repair, hormone production, and immune function. Beef is also rich in iron, specifically heme iron. This form of iron is absorbed more efficiently than plant-based iron. Iron is essential for oxygen transport in the blood and energy metabolism. For people with iron deficiency, beef can play a significant role. Vitamin B12 is another major advantage. B12 is critical for nerve health, brain function, and red blood cell formation. It is found almost exclusively in animal products, and beef is one of the strongest sources. Deficiency can lead to fatigue, cognitive issues, and nerve damage. Other nutrients include zinc, which supports immune function and testosterone production, phosphorus for bone health, and selenium, an antioxidant mineral. From a micronutrient standpoint, beef is dense and efficient. But beef is not perfect, and pretending otherwise is dishonest. Fat composition matters. Some cuts of beef are high in saturated fat. Excessive intake of saturated fat is associated with increased cholesterol levels and cardiovascular risk in certain populations. This doesn't mean beef is poison. It means quantity and cut selection matter. Another concern often discussed is processing. Fresh, unprocessed beef is very different from heavily processed beef products. Additives, preservatives, and excessive sodium change the health impact significantly. Not all beef products are equal, even if they come from the same animal. There's also the digestion factor. Beef is heavier than poultry or fish. Some people digest it easily, others don't. This varies by individual metabolism, portion size, and cooking method. Lean cuts are generally easier to tolerate than fatty ones. Now let's address the elephant in the room: sustainability. Beef production has a larger environmental footprint compared to most other protein sources. Cattle require land, water, and feed. Methane emissions from cattle are a legitimate concern. These are real issues, not internet myths. However, the conversation is often oversimplified. Not all beef production systems are the same. Grass-fed, regenerative, and rotational grazing systems operate differently from industrial feedlots. Some systems actually improve soil health and biodiversity. Blanket statements don't help anyone. Culturally, beef is deeply embedded in cuisines around the world. From American barbecue to Argentine asado, from Turkish kebabs to French bistro dishes, beef plays different roles depending on region and tradition. These food cultures didn't develop randomly. They evolved based on geography, resources, and history. In modern diets, beef is often positioned as either essential or evil. Reality doesn't work like that. Beef is a tool. Used intelligently, it provides dense nutrition. Overused or poorly sourced, it contributes to health and environmental problems. The key is balance. Portion control, cut selection, and frequency matter. Beef doesn't need to disappear from diets, but it doesn't need to dominate every meal either. When eaten intentionally, it fits into a healthy eating pattern. Beef also plays a role in food security. In many regions, cattle farming supports livelihoods and economies. Removing beef entirely from the global food system is not realistic. Improving how it's produced and consumed is the smarter path. So what's the real takeaway? Beef is neither hero nor villain. It's one of the most nutritionally dense foods humans have access to, and also one of the most resource-intensive. Understanding both sides is the difference between informed eating and emotional food choices. When you know what beef is, how it works, and how to use it properly, it stops being confusing. It becomes a conscious choice instead of a default habit.